Ladies and gentlemen, so, let's start this way. Okay, so, there's a pretty high chance that I'm older than you, because most of the fans, that watch me, yeah, well, the 100 people that enjoy my videos, no, I'm just kidding, they are most likely between the age of 15 and 25, that's at least what my YouTube analytics say. I'm 31 years of age, and I wanted to talk about some more deeper topics that has been going on in my life, and it might be able to help you, might not, who knows, but just wanted to let you know. So, the topic I want to talk about today, it's going a little bit into the realm of addiction and a little bit to chaos, because my life, ever since I can think, was always troubled. Since I was born, I grew up without a father. My mother had to work both jobs for my father and for my mother. She had to teach me basically like a father would and like a mom would, which is obviously huge pressure, which is not easy. I didn't notice that back in the day, but now when you get of age, you come to realize a little bit more what was going on and stuff like that. So I grew up without a father, and from a very early young age, my mother and I, we moved to Asia. We moved to Thailand, where my grandfather has lived. And he was an architect, and he was building houses and stuff, so my mother went over there to build a company. She was selling stuff online, like clothes that she was making there, and stuff like that. It was her own designs and stuff like that. Anyways, so, I was always living a very different life to what might, be normal towards your eyes, so, I was very unstable for a very, very long time. I would still consider myself unstable. I was a rebel. I did not care about school. I hated it because in Thailand we had to wear school uniforms, and back in the day, I took my tie and I banded it around my head, and it was crazy. I had piercings, I grew out long hair, and I just didn't care very much. And that feeling and that personality has gone over for like 22 years maybe. And every decade, I lived through became worse and worse and worse, until in the end I was in front of court, and I was dealing with some aggressive charges because I used to get into bar fights. I'm gonna go into that in a little bit more in depth in a second. So it was never justified. Aggression is never justified in any form of way, but I've been dealing with that ever since I was a child. So, when I got to the courtroom, I realized something woke me up, and it was just the fact that I knew that it might actually go down. I'm going down a horrible path. I used to have a background with drugs. I used to have a background with alcohol abuse. It was very significant, especially in my early 20s, and basically when I was 15 to 23, I would say, was probably the worst times that I, abused a lot of alcohol and stuff like that. So when I sat in front of court, obviously, there were a lot of lies told from the opposite side. That's why in the end, because I had also a very good lawyer, in the end, I was not convicted, and I was set free because the stuff that was said in the original papers were not matching to what actually happened. Anyways, what I want to talk about though is that from an early age on, I was rooted into, I was born and diagnosed with a big version of ADHD. I don't know what it is called in English. It's like when you're super hyperactive, you always demand attention, and you always want to be the center of attention, and you're super, like, moving a lot, leg is shaking, stuff like that. And from that moment on, when I actually, the first thoughts in my head when I was able to think, which around is about like age 5, 6, 7, when you start to be a little bit more self-conscious than, previous ages. My mother used to ask me, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I told her that I want to be either a criminal, robbing banks, or an astronaut. Luckily, both things didn't happen, so... but yeah, these were like the first ideas that I wanted to have back in the day, and it was kind of crazy when you look back to it. I was like always this devil child. I was pulling people's hair, I was screaming a lot, I was just really, really difficult to handle. And, at that age, you don't necessarily understand it properly, what's going on. It's just like you were born with it and you're just like on autopilot. It wouldn't have mattered if my father would have been there. It wouldn't have mattered if my mother would have done things better or something. It would have probably still turned out the way it was. Because when I was born with not enough oxygen, and I wasn't breathing when I was born and come to this world. I wasn't breathing, so they had to take me and reanimate me multiple times. And I think back there, something might have happened in that region why I wasn't functioning like everybody else. Because for me, I was very self-aware. Like, I was there, like, maybe a bit more than you would think with others. And I always ask myself, why do people do all of these boring jobs? Why do people live like NPCs? Why is this? And everybody has this system. Like, there's this system that was growing around me, either in Thailand or in Germany, where I am at right now. And I never fully understood why these people feel like they have empty souls. But later on, I also revealed to myself that my soul was pretty empty as well. And from that moment on, it started to become better. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about the addiction, what pulled me into it, and stuff like that, and how it all happened. So when I was in Thailand, I was very rebellious. I went out and, even at night, and I stole our motorbike, and I actually went to a shop where I copied a key for the motorbike so I could sneak out at night, because my mom took the keys away, right? So I had multiple sets of keys. And when I was about 15, I discovered a huge party scene in Thailand, and I absolutely loved it. I tried to recreate that moment ever since. I went out for years, every single day. And you might be asking, where does the money come from? What happens here? What happens there? And stuff like that. My mother gave me that money back in the day. She earned quite a bit of money. I grew up quite poor, but when we were in Thailand, things started to pick up, and we actually were quite wealthy when it comes to that. And I just went out every single night, obviously against the will of my mother, against the will of anybody, but I just had the feeling that I needed that freedom. And due to the ADHD, I was always demanding attention and people around me. So I went out into the party scene. I got smashed so many times. I drank so much, you can't even believe. Like, if I would puke out everything that I drank over the years, I would probably have a huge pool full of it. Like, probably like a complex full of booze. It was crazy. And when you grew up in that way, that kind of sticks with you throughout your entire life, because that is your childhood, so to speak. I mean, my actual childhood to like ages 12, from 0 to 12, was very nice. I remember only positive things. I have a very loving mother, very loving grandmother, and stuff like that raised me, so to speak. It was a very nice time. But when I started to get into the scene of partying, when I started to... I actually, in Thailand, I wasn't hanging around bad people. That came later in Germany, because the people in Thailand, most of the people that I met were pretty wealthy, because we were at a school that was quite wealthy as well. So I wasn't necessarily hanging around people that were poor or anything like that. But, since I came from that poor status, it kind of taints your soul a little bit, and you're always going to be a specific type of person. Even if you, throughout your life, kind of earn a little bit and you're doing quite well, the stages of being poor when you were younger, of not being able to have what you always wanted that other people could have, is kind of sticking around with you for a little bit. Anyways, so... after all of that party scene that I had in Thailand, I moved back to Germany, and this is where the entire ship was crashing down, because I had all of my friends in Thailand. I started to speak the language. I were around people that I loved. It was a nice, cozy, friend group that we had. And when I came back to Germany, I tried to recreate what I had in Thailand. So I started to go out again, started to party a lot. I joined a band, played a lot of guitar in that. Went on for a few years. And then when I was about 17, 18, and 19, that's when the heavy alcohol abuse started to kick in. And I realized, damn, man, I really want more of that. So I still started to party, drank every second day. Got myself into party management, so I wanted to be close to the drug basically that I used, which was alcohol. I do call it a drug because it can make you completely broken, trust me. So I went into that party scene a little bit more, started more drinking, started to host my own parties, and at one point I hosted such a huge party. We rented, it was like a hall, it was huge. We had about I think we had about 5,000 people coming in all around the city. I was very well known in the city for making these parties, and I was just surrounding myself with yes man people. I was surrounding myself with women that were just interested because they saw my face somewhere on a poster in the city. I just surrounded myself basically with people that would literally just do anything what I say, and they were always begging for things like, hey, can we come here for free? Hey, can we bring this and that? Can we bring my friends? And that was something that I thought that I needed at the time. My wannabe friend circle was like in the hundreds. Well, maybe not the hundreds, but like maybe like 40, 50 people that constantly messaged me back in the day on Facebook that wanted something, and I felt like I got the attention that I deserved. And that went on for quite a few years, until I got into like years 20 or 21, somewhere along those lines. And this is where the ship started to crash, because I noticed that the people, when I had problems or I needed somebody to help me with, nobody followed, nobody helped me. So I was like, damn, so I am by myself, which led to more drinking. Then I had like a moment in my life where I thought, okay, this is all not really working out, let's do school again. Because I was taken out of school from Germany when we moved to Thailand when I was 12. In Thailand, I've been to a school where the papers don't really matter here in Germany, so it wasn't really acknowledged by anything. So I went back, and I thought, oh man, maybe I'm gonna get some better jobs. I wanna, settle up myself a little bit more, because I, by then, cancelled all of the friends that I had. Literally every single one of these friends I cancelled instead of like 2 people or something. One of them recently passed away. I talked about that in the videos, and one of them is still here with me, and he's my best friend. I'm also his best man on his wedding, and we're very close and stuff like that. But when I got rid of all of these friends, I wanted to start over again, because I was always a guy that I wasn't stupid. Like, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I just still didn't care enough. I didn't care enough about myself, didn't care enough about people around me and stuff like that, so I just didn't give a damn. So what I then did was went back to school, started to do my school again, and I had really good grades. Really, really good grades. I finished school with a pretty good, paper that you get, right, when you finish school with the things on it. So I was like, yeah, I was doing great. But right at the end of that time, I met people in that school that were connected to drugs. And we're not talking about like heroin or methamphetamine, well, maybe methamphetamines, but nothing like that you have to like inject or anything crazy. So it was usually in the form of tablets, or you snort things through your nose. Like cocaine and, that amphetamines and stuff like that. And I got into that scene again that I just broken out of, because I wanted to, get back into that feeling of being, in that moment I thought, being worth something. And that also was connected because when I was younger, you don't really feel like you're worth anything if you don't have anything. This is sadly a system where we all grow up in, and it was, that feeling again. I wanted that feeling again to matter again, to have something to say in this world where people follow me and stuff like that. I wanted to do that. So what I started going out with these people that were, these party drug type of peoples when I was about 22 maybe. 21, 22, and that was when I completely drifted apart again. I completely went all the way down. How many minutes are we in? Okay. I completely drifted down into the hole again. I did have that fake friend bubble again, where I had a lot of people around me again. Everybody wanted something. In that case, it was drugs. I didn't deal anything with them, but I always knew people that did. So I was again in that big crowd with that big, situation where everybody wanted, something from me, and I just completely spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. So at one point, I was just a shell of myself, going through bars and pubs and stuff like that. And when there was some guy that just said something stupid to me, I did a lot of mixed martial arts when I was in Thailand, so I was always pretty well known to defend myself or even attack very well on my own, and people knew that in the city. So sometimes people challenged me with that, and purposely basically did something. And I myself also challenged other people, because when you're drunk, when you're high on stuff, you turn into a different soul, you turn into a different human being, and that's actually a fact. I can promise you this. So sometimes I would start fights, sometimes they started fights, and one fight was this bad that I ended up in front of court, because he said when he was on the ground that I kicked and stomped his face in and his head. Obviously the injuries, which were non-existent, he didn't have any of those, and he started to tell the people, was like this lying type of guy. And I gotta be honest, back in the day I was also lying a lot. I was just trying to be somebody that I initially wasn't. And when I got in front of court, that was definitely the reason. And the sole singular thing, not because I was caught with it, because I wasn't running or anything. I was staying there with him so the police can take me away. And you know, that was just a wake-up call, because in Germany it takes about a year until you're prosecuted, until you get in front of a court. And that year, when I was about 23 or something, was probably the worst year of my life, because I was looking at pretty big charges. The charges could have at least landed me to like 5 years in prison or something like that, but obviously the stuff what he said wasn't the thing that actually happened, and we had a lot of witnesses there as well that reported the same way, because he started pushing me. I said, alright, let's get outside, so I always took people outside of the pub, and then, you know, it went down usually. And yeah, there were people watching, and luckily, most of these people, I didn't know anybody of them. I was there by myself that night because I was coming home from a party, and I just went into this, it's like this pub where you go into when, like, nothing else is opened anymore. It was a really filthy pub. Went into it, and, yeah, I didn't know the people, and we had, like, I don't know, like 10 witnesses that came by in that court day and, you know, testified. And they all said the same story. I said the same story, and I was granted freedom, ladies and gentlemen. And that moment was the day where I realized something is not right. Well, that was the second time I realized something was not right. So what I did, I stopped taking anything. I mean, I still once in a while drink alcohol for myself, all home alone, watching something, talking to my girlfriend, or, you know, going on like Omegle sites, like where to talk with others. I don't go to parties drinking anymore. I cut every single friendship that I had. You know, I stopped doing these house parties that I used to do. I stopped everything. And then I realized I was back again being lonely. I was alone again. And that got me to a, how do I say this, to a journey to start to learn to accept yourself. And once you're able to do that, then you are free of having to go out there and, you know, trying to get the attention of other people. Just give your own attention to yourself, and that took me at least 23 years, a long time of trouble and problems. So that happened. I lost all of the friends, which I wanted, lost all of them. Whoops, my ear is itching. I lost all of these people. I suddenly became a little bit happier, and when I was 27, I became chronically ill. And I always thought, because I don't believe in a God, I want to, but most churches have failed me, so I never really did. But then I realized when I got chronically ill, because I've been at around 40 different doctors, and nobody can explain what I have. Literally nobody. Nobody knows. And then I realized maybe it is the karma that I have caused to others, the pain and hurt that I caused to others, that is coming back to me now to haunt me. And I have to go through this process, because this sickness that I have, some doctors think it's fibromyalgia, something that an immune process that went on from some trauma that I had in my body happened. So I thought, man, this might be it, guys. This might be it. I've been having it now for 2-3 years. I've been on a road to redemption. I tried to be a better person. I tried to be a much better friend than I was to other people beforehand. And I immediately know and have a red flag system in my head when I know that when I meet specific people, to either stay away from them or to engage with them. And that is what I learned in the past 31 years now. Obviously, when you're getting older, you calm down a little bit. You are a little bit less crazy than you were that you were back in the day. Like I said, I still have days, and you know, it's like 2-3 times a month maybe when I drink some booze by myself, you know, watch something funny, or, you know, talk to some other people online, or talk to my girlfriend, and we'll do something online. And that's where I'm at now. If you compare me, and if you would ask anybody around me, literally my girlfriend, my best friend, my mother, and everybody around me, I've done a 180 turn to what I was maybe 5 to 10 years ago. I got out of it, which doesn't mean that I'm gonna be safe forever from it, because I noticed when my other older best friend died a few months ago, I spiraled a different path. I mean, it's not the same path that I had before, but I spiraled down into something that I haven't never met before, and that was grief. And every time I have these feelings, I tend to drink a little bit more. I tend to like be by myself and in these old memories and thoughts and all of that kind of stuff that, you know, somebody goes through when they grieve. And I'm still in that moment. I mean, I'm out of this sadness cry phase. I'm out of that, but it's still very significant. It's very actively in my head. So yeah, this is not easy, man. I'm noticing now, the older you get, the harder life becomes, and that's true, because the less and less people are there for you to care for you, or help you, or keep you alive, or be there for emotional support. The older you get, the harder it usually becomes, and that's what I'm feeling. Like, I'm in the transition mode to be a real adult. I never was. Even when I was 25, 28, I didn't care. I cared, no, well, not 28, but like 22 to 25, maybe. I never cared. And that's not long ago. That's like 10 years ago, maybe. Or maybe even less, like 7 years ago. So it's not long ago. And now I'm 30, and I have to start caring more about myself, about my surroundings, how to survive when you're chronically ill. I have issues finding good jobs because I'm very sick. Very difficult to deal with it. The pains, the eye pain, the headaches, the belly pain, and all of this stuff that I have, it's very significant. And every doctor, no matter what MRI, it keeps telling me that I have nothing. So I literally think that I was cursed. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe, well, maybe a little bit, but like not 100%. I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything that a man can tell me. That's why it was always very difficult to understand. Like, I never understood why people would follow something like a Bible or another holy book. I never understood because nobody taught it to me. Nobody told me that this might be a better way of living. I was there almost always by myself. Well, my mother is always there, but a mother can only do this much, you know. So I had to teach myself everything myself, mostly. And yeah, that's at the stage where I'm at right now. So my kids, what I want to tell you with this video is that even if you have a bad time, even if you're lonely, even if you don't have friends, even if you might spiral into the wrong circle of friends and groups, I'm gonna tell you that you can go through this. And if I can do it, then I believe anybody else can, because I have been in the lowest of my points in my life. I was down, so down, in some sort of corner of some street, being full of drugs, full of alcohol. I was there by myself. I felt like a full, pure addict. And if I can get out of that, then you can too. By the way, oh my god, I forgot, overweight was also a huge problem. I used to weigh so much more than I do now. I just went down 25 kilos. Don't know how that is in, you know, American language. But yeah, you can Google it. Yeah, there was a lot of things that I fought through. And if I can do this, I'm pretty sure you can too. You just have to, doesn't matter if you're weak, if you think you're weak-minded, strong-minded. I always thought I was the strong-minded one, but then I realized when I was doing all of that crazy stuff almost 10 years ago, I realized I was very weak-minded. Very, very weak-minded. Although my ego told me that I was strong-minded, but I wasn't. Because I fell into drugs, I fell into alcohol, fell into bad friend circles. You can get out of it. I can too. And I know I can. You might actually think you might be a little bit lonely, but that will fade because you have to start to learn to accept yourself. Some people need therapy, some people can do it on their own. I went to therapy a few times, but my ego was too high. I thought I was smarter than the psychologist, and that's a very common syndrome from people that ride these high ego thingies, clouds, you know. So, by the way, making YouTube videos also kinda, I switched out going to parties and party zones to make YouTube videos to, you know, get what I need, because I still always need the attention. That will always be with me. I can lower it a little bit, but it will always be with me. So making YouTube videos definitely help with that. Not that the channel is huge or anything like that, but we have a few people being interested to what I have to say. Alright, so I'm yapping on. The Mr. Yapatron is done. Thank you for watching. That was a very personal story that I have here for you. I hope that you might take something away from it or not. And I will hopefully see you in another video. I want to do these type of videos more often because I believe that I do have something to say, how things went and stuff like that you might be interested in. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Peace out.